Thank you, Bisera. You bring true sparkle to our Diamond event today. It's time to express our gratitude to the partners who support us to execute this project. Thanks to the Diamond sponsor of PMI Summit, Kambanize. Thanks to our golden sponsors, Apex, New Horizons, Desica Bank, Syscom Engineering, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, flatexDEGIRO. Thanks to our silver sponsors, Melexis, Cargill, Scalefocus, SoftServe, Cargotec, Mr. Senkov, EGT and EGT Digital, Sensata Technologies. Also, I would like to thank to our partners, ADECO, Agile Pool, European Institute for Innovation and Strategic Analysis, PM Zone, SEC, Sofia Event Center, Bratanov, On My TV, Impersamente Art Hotel, Fitness, Pulse Fitness and Spa, and National Park Pirin. Now, during the next discussion panel, we will look to find answer on the question what's happened on the high floors, how the leaders prepare for the unpredictable. Please welcome on the stage the moderator of the discussion business panel, Chris.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Cashell. I'm from the Apex Group, an organization that's gone through considerable change over the last few years. And they've asked me to moderate a session. There's 8 very highly experienced, very knowledgeable people that you all have the opportunity to learn from this afternoon. From different industries, different kinds of change, and obviously at the center of it is people. So I want to introduce the panel. One thing I will say is that when they asked me to moderate, I didn't realize that when I was coming to Bulgaria, sometimes those names aren't as easy. Okay, so I'm going to do my best, okay, to introduce these people, and they're going to come up in order. So first, Bilyana, who is the Information Technology Solutions Operations and Corporate Sofia Lead for the World Bank or Group. Next is Kat. She told me I could say Kat because it was easier. Next is Kat, who's the Managing Director of IT at flatexDEGIRO. Next is Mario, who's the General Manager of Global Delivery for Bulgaria for HP Enterprise. Next, Viktor, who's a co-founder and board member at Scalefocus. Monika, next, is the Chief Operations Expert and member of the Supervisory Board, SAP. I'm not sure, Jesús is here? Okay, next is Zdravko, who is the site leader of Sofia Business Center at the Sensata Technologies. Oh. I was... Thank goodness we found everyone, okay? So, as a way of introducing this, I've spoken on this for many, many years in terms of change management. And what I'll say to people is, when you're project managers, you're implementing a project, some kind of solution, you've worked hard to make sure you can get that delivered, hopefully within the timelines, hopefully in scope, hopefully in or under budget. All that hard work has gone into driving that project, and all of a sudden, weeks and months after you've implemented a solution, it's still not being used properly. You're not seeing the benefits coming out of it. And so we can't just tick the box to say it was done on time and on scope and on budget. We have to look at it and go, how can we make it more successful? Well, one of the main reasons it isn't is because we haven't managed the people side of things. We haven't got people to accept the change that inevitably happens when we introduce something new. Everything we do as projects, that's the definition, is unique, so it's different. So what we have to do is bring people along in terms of that journey. People don't like to change. None of us like to change, but sometimes we have to. In fact, one of the reasons I was deliberately going to take my glasses out, because when I used to do these presentations pre-pandemic, I didn't need them. I'm still in denial. Okay, I'm not managing the change very well because they're here, but they're not going on at the moment. Thank you. So what I'm trying to do is we all have to go through this change, okay, and we have to bring people along with us. If you ask organizations that are going through large transformations, they'll say that they failed 72% of the time because of employee resistance and management not getting it, okay? Our opportunity is to actually bring people along and drive and lead how we bring that change, because if we do that correctly, you will get 4 times the benefit from these large transformations. 4 times, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times the benefit if you do and manage that change. So we have to remember that when we're putting in these projects. And that means reinventing ourselves as project managers. As I said, I did this years ago. The presentation said, how can I add value as a project manager? Because ultimately, people see us as a cost. You're an overhead to the organization. You have to turn the conversation around and become value add. And by bringing your people change management skills to the way you deliver projects will actually deliver the value, and therefore you'll cross the aisle into the other side of the equation, the financial equation. You will no longer be seen as a cost. You'll be seen as a value to the organization. So you have to embrace this change. You have to reinvent yourselves as project managers to have this as a skill. And it's not always about putting a communication plan together. That's simple. It's actually about understanding people and how they change over time and how you can bring them along that journey. We can plan for that, but we've got to execute on it as well. The last thing I'll say is, when you're in an organization, which all of you are, and there's a large amount of change happening, we also have to think about the portfolio management side of it, because everyone is trying to implement more and more change. Well, part of what we do is looking at that big picture. So I was moderating another session a few weeks ago, and I told people I learned one thing at a conference. I'm lucky, I learned one thing at a conference, okay? And someone stood up and said, if you go to an organization and say, what are they doing? How are they changing? How are they driving forward? What's their vision? A lot of people go, well, I'm going to go and grab the strategy document. But that strategy document is just a piece of paper. Do you know what's changing the organization? Your project portfolio, because that's where the money's going. And it's our job to help the organization align the project portfolio with their strategy and make sure the money is being spent in the right areas to help change the organization. So what I'm going to do, it's going to be the really easiest moderation I've ever done, because there's 8 people and we have less than an hour. I've told them to talk for as long as they like so that I don't have to ask any more questions, okay? We'll see how it goes, okay? And I'm going to go along the line to make it easy for everyone, okay? So the question I'm going to ask each one of them, and I want all of you to really listen to the background and what everyone's done here, because they bring a different lens, a different experience. And I've asked them to share one key lesson, which could be negative or could be positive. But it's your opportunity to get your pen and paper out, put the phones away, get your pen and paper out, and make a note of these lessons, because this is going to help you to go back to your organizations and drive that change into them. So, Bilyana, I'm going to ask you first to go. Lucky you. Okay.
Sure. Thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone. Let me just start by saying how excited I am to be here. I mean, frankly, this event, to have so many of us together in person, to me, feels like a mirage after the past years that we've had. So, super short introduction. Yes, my name is Bilyana. I'm a senior IT officer at the World Bank here in Sofia. But beyond the title, right, I'm a technologist at heart. I've always been fascinated about tech, but mostly how it can be used to help the business, right? So I've been a developer for many years, I've been a project manager, I've been a people manager, I had my own startup at some point, and then I moved into the corporate world with Microsoft, where I spent some years. Now in my current capacity at the World Bank, I've been asked to step in the beginning of the pandemic and form teams within IT. And lead these teams since. So from that perspective are the examples that I would like to share with you today of how this went, and it has been fun. So just a little bit of context, probably most of you know already, but the World Bank is not a conventional bank, right? We are part of the United Nations system. We work alongside with other international organizations like the International Monetary Fund and many others, and our main mission is to reduce poverty and increase shared prosperity in the world. For that, we provide various financial instruments like loans and grants to the low and middle income countries to support different areas of investments. Is it healthcare, education, infrastructure, environmental goals, etc. You can see how the needs for this type of support have increased dramatically over the past years. Beyond financing, we also provide advice, policy advice, data research support, so we are also a knowledge organization. And we've been around for a while, right? This organization was actually created to build stability into the world after the World War II. So 79 years now, we are managing with change, right? And we remain stable. But still, the last years have shaken us up a lot. And we needed to step up and do more to help the most vulnerable deal with change, with the crisis that affected them. And in this environment, IT and our function was asked to do more, do faster, do better, starting from enabling fully remote work, essentially overnight, right, when everyone was asked to get their laptops and work from home until further notice, back to the hybrid world now, which back to hybrid has been even more challenging, strangely enough, than fully remote. Through various, providing various solutions rapidly, meanwhile, to support the institution. So let's say when our colleagues were unable to go and on the field, unable to travel and see how a project for, let's say, an infrastructure being built in Africa is progressing, we needed to be there to provide alternative solutions. Like, for example, satellite imagery from NASA in order to be their eyes on the ground. What else? Another good example is, develop a dashboard for the supply chain of COVID vaccines worldwide. That we needed to do in days instead of the usual weeks and months that a task like this would have. And multiple other systems, processes, everything needed to change. And while this was happening, this brand new shared services center of the bank was established here in Sofia just before the pandemic, without knowing that that's happening. And now imagine me, being new to the organization myself, being asked to come in and build, a few teams, from staffing to recruitment to onboarding, and have them operational rapidly in order to support the rest of the organization, to support our colleagues. And it has been a challenging, I'm not gonna lie, but it was also a super rare opportunity. It was a rare opportunity to build things from scratch, to be selective, and to be able to pick the people, when Chris mentioned people are key, to be the people that are not maybe ready for change, but eager to step in this situation, and eager to help. And so we did. I can tell you we took a full advantage of that environment. We managed to get great talent. We managed not only to get them in, to align with the right values, but also to make them operational, something that would be not that easy if business was as usual, but it was not as usual. So very quickly they were able to plug in and start helping the rest of the teams. So that was happening, and in terms of change management in IT of the bank, I can tell you that this practice was established, years back, and they were doing an awesome job helping teams navigate and individuals go through different technology adoption, process changes, and other initiatives. But as basically, we were not talking about changes anymore. We were talking about disruption being the new norm. So we had to do something else, something more creative. So for a moment there, we just paused and we thought, okay, what can we do more and differently? How can we prepare without knowing what we are preparing for? So the known unknowns out there, and how can we do something to be a better setup? And we did. We established a very small core team, all of them here in Sofia, with that task. Their primary task was watch out there, look what's coming, foresee, anticipate change, and see how this translates at large for the whole organization. What we need to do in order to be better set up when it arrives, and then we manage it through the regular processes. And we did that. We assembled this team super quickly, and what they do is, as you said, strategies, but also strategies practical, if you can imagine that. So some practical frameworks, things that we can prepare for in order to be able to step in. Like, for example, right, I mean, various technologies and all of that, big data, blockchain, whatever is it, but the practical example, let's say, for AI, without knowing, we always knew AI is going to be a factor, right? This is not news, but we didn't know that GPT is coming, it will be on top of everyone's mind, everybody, will know about it. But we said, okay, what do we need to do in order to be ready for the big thing coming? And we did many things. We did proper team setup, skill set, structures to support that and to be able, when the change arrives, to be at least better prepared. And collaboration, right? So small team, but working across everybody. This was a key, I think, to be successful. So that is that, and they're now tasked. They don't know exactly what they're working on, but they're looking ahead and trying to bring in the most distilled and contextualized manner what needs to be on our radar. So not exactly how we are going to do things, but what we need to be mindful of and bring that experience in. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's it. Am I okay with time?
Thanks very much. No follow-up questions yet.
Okay, good.
Okay, so Kat.
Hello everyone, my name is Katarzyna Rybnik and I'm a deputy of flatexDEGIRO CTO. And before I will go to the story and the company, let me say that I'm very positively surprised and super happy to see so many of you here today, the people who actually embrace the change, which is not that frequent because, as Chris mentioned at the beginning, majority of people actually don't like the change. So, flatexDEGIRO, as name implies, is the company that was created by merger of two businesses. Both were very similar. One was a German-based flatex fintech, providing brokerage services using online and mobile platforms. And the other one was a Dutch-based DEGIRO with the operations center here in Bulgaria, that was providing brokerage services using mobile and internet platforms. So, what we went through 2 years ago, an industry is calling so-called merger of equals, with a specific subcase, which is a merger of equals that is going trans-border. And what is the name of the game here, and what is the challenge here, is that with merger of equals that are going trans-border, is that on paper, everything looks very nice and simple. The companies are very similar. They do provide similar type of business. They use a similar means of transforming this business and delivering it to its customers. They look like us, they talk like us, they work like us. The merger should be a super easy thing, yeah? But the problem starts when you start looking to the details, yeah? Because the details are, business might be similar, but the cultures are very different. The way let's start from the decision-making process. The way how we make decisions is different. The way how Northern Germanic-based cultures make a decision is definitely more authoritarian than the way how the Southern-based cultures will make the decisions. The way how we develop our products is different. The one side will require a very, very detailed plan, thought through to the lowest point of detail. The other side will rather go with the Nike approach. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's try. the way how the hierarchies are structured is very different. We have a very hierarchical organizations versus a very flat ones. So when we start working on a vision of merger, on the target operating model, which is a starting point, we start from the perspective that it should go easy, but because of those differences, very frequently at the very beginning we discover that we have a problem with communicating with each other because of those differences. And this is like one side of the story, and the second side of the story is a typical psychological mechanism that we all experience with every single change, which is so-called denial curve. Yeah? So first, when change is hitting us, the first reaction is sort of denial. Yeah, this is not happening. This is somewhere else. Yeah, those companies merge, but I mean, my business will not be affected. The second stage is a rejection and anger. Yeah, I don't want this. Yeah, I will still keep doing my stuff. Yeah, I really don't like it. And this is a dangerous phase, because this is the phase where the most talented individuals tend to leave, yeah? Because they rather choose a stability somewhere else than going through this unknown here. And them leaving is causing the whole process tremendously slowing down, because you start bleeding with the knowledge. Yeah? And then we have this third stage, which is already going up, and which is like creating the common future and common model together. So what is the role for the people who actually work on change, embrace the change, understand the change, like you guys, is to be very active in this second phase, where what is needed is an extreme number of communication and patience to overcome those differences. Yeah? This is where we were, this is where we still as a company are. We went through this stormy phase, and we are at the moment and in this forming and creating the new vision and future place. And we still very much invite specialists like you on our border.
Thanks, Kat. Appreciate it. By the way, we're sticking to schedule. I'm tracking this as we go along the line. So Mario, please, you're next.
Thank you. As Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, what we try to do is, what we want to do and what our strategy is, we want to change the people who live and work in a better way. That's our main purpose. Our solutions and implementations are focused on changing people's lives. And I would like to turn it a little bit around and say two things from around project management, because I assume more of you are project managers, program managers, all of this kind of stuff. Two things which are helping me or helped me over the time, and I would like to give this to you, is one, if I look at it from a customer project perspective, so you're delivering a project for a customer of yours or your company or whatever, my personal advice is always learn about your customer. Go check the internet, go check the official public information which is available for the customer you are working with, company X, Y, Z, whatever it is, and learn as much as possible. That's going to give you insights why this project is important for them, what they are suffering from, what they want to do, how they look for the future, what their plans are, if you want, how their financials looks like. And having this information will give you much more insights and talking points during the project implementation. It might be something small, it might be a big project, but always having this information will help you. Will help you to drive your internal account team within the company, will help you the discussion with the customer when reaching a milestone, and will give you a same type of a language when talking about specific of their business. That's my first one in a very short. And the second big point, which my colleagues have been talking a little bit also, is internal transformation. We are coming from different companies, from different industries, but what is common these days is change. We have been on a macroeconomical level, the industry, not only IT, every industry is going through a huge change. There was the pandemic trend of change, there was the inflation now, there is lack of parts, there is the different delivery times, everything is different since 3 years. And what we have been able to do in the past, because I'm not like you, Chris, in the first 20s, if in the past we do a big transformation in a company and then we aside for 5 years and then we do another big transformation, that's not the time right now. If a company would like to survive, it has to adapt. It has to adapt to the new realities, it has to adapt to the new trends, it has to adapt to the new customers sometimes. It has to adapt to a change from a customer perspective, of the buying habits, of paying habits, of everything. So this is something we have to learn, and if you're a leader, you have to accept it yourself, that life will change, or has changed already, and we have to adapt every day. So there is no time where there will be no change. And the only way we can overcome this is communication. So we, as the people leaders, or team managers, or whatever you call it, we have to be able to speak with our teams and provide them a big picture. We have to repeat it once, we have to repeat it twice, 3 times, 10 times. Sometimes ago I had been told that one message or one news to be shared and accepted by everybody, you have to tell it at least 7 times. I personally believe that if you tell it 70 times, it's still not going to be understood from time to time, but this is our job, and we like it or not, that's the role of the people leader, to communicate the change, to communicate what is coming, to communicate the way we want to operate in the future. And we cannot go around this one. If you're not ready for that, you just need to look for something different. That's a change, that's something which has been not the same before, and we need to accept it and work with it. That would be my 2 points. Thank you.
Thanks, Mario. Victor, I'm just going to introduce you. I'm not going to say anything. We had dinner last night, and he's convinced I was going to introduce him with some other way, but Victor, you go next. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Viktor Bilyanski, and I'm the co-founder of Scalefocus software development company with around 850 people. And I first want to tell you what I was thinking when I got the invitation. I asked myself, why am I invited at this panel where in our company only there are many people who know much more in that subject than I do. So that must not have been the reason. Then I was looking at the other panelists, and I realized that from the other 7, 3 of them, I will not mention the names, but they are customers of ours. And I said, okay, maybe they want to embarrass me in front of the audience. So I checked, let me first check how the projects for those customers are going before giving the answer. So I checked, everything was green, customers were happy, and I said, okay, then I'll go confirm. And then I realized that business point of view, it's very important for every project. And I think I can share some insights from my side and what we have experienced during the years. I always think that, people and the culture are the most important thing for every company and every project. And if you don't have the right foundations, no matter how good processes you have troubles. So the first advice to all project managers and business leaders will be, make sure that you fight for the best people, because otherwise it will be 100 times more difficult to drive successfully the company and the project. And also the culture, of course. You need a culture of high achievers, positivity, teamwork, and so forth. But the most difficult question is, how do you create the culture? There is no recipe for this. I can tell you my recipe, what I have also learned from other companies during the years. There are 4 things that you can do in order to influence the culture of the company, the project, of course, and the people. First thing, make sure that you're an example. That's really important. Second thing is hire the right people. Third thing is promote the right people. And the fourth, last one, the most difficult sometimes, unfortunately, you have to fire the low performers. That's needed if you want to have a long-term success. So that's these four, let's say, advices can be applied both on a company level and as well on a micro level for the project that you manage. And then, how to manage change. I think that you need to prepare way before a specific change will happen. And the best preparation is first to communicate to the team that changes will happen. This is inevitable. It's part of the job to expect and prepare for this. And then something which even in some cases very good, very professional project managers don't do. They're too focused on the scope of the project only. I think my advice would be you need to zoom out to understand very well how this project will contribute to, let's say, to the program, to the company's success, whether it will increase the revenue or it will reduce cost. Because if you understand the big picture, then you can be much more creative when change happens. Because when you understand, there are many things that you can manage better and be, let's say, more successful. Am I on time? Just
No,
okay, thank you.
You haven't won the prize yet. Next, I'm going to go to Monika. Monika decided she was going to try and change me last night because she was trying to convince me to get the metro here today. Like any user, I resisted that change and got a taxi. So, Monika, over to you.
Thank you. I'm from SAP. SAP is one of the biggest companies in software area, especially in Europe. It's a European-based company. Actually, last year we celebrated our 50th anniversary. So 50 years of successful company becoming 1,010 people around the world. So you can imagine how many changes we have survived, you know, and we adapted. And actually what we figure out is that you cannot plan change. Yeah? I mean, you can plan to the extent what you will do, but you have to be able to adapt when you start the change. And there are changes from organizational point of view, there are changes from products, from technology, from culture, from even the countries, how to integrate the countries. So you have to look at this as a system, really as a system if you want to move it. And when you take this systematic view, you usually have to have a really good glance where you stand and be honest with you, because you might have a wishful thinking that we are better than we are actually at the moment, but look where you are. Then take this high-level view where you want to be, and then try to see how to move the whole system. And what we figured out actually in SAP that really works the best is to involve the people. Really to involve a larger number of our colleagues so that they support the change. They know why we are doing that, what we are doing, and also as well how they can actually respond to that and to move to our new vision. And when we have them involved, actually the resistance is much lower and it's easier. For that, of course, it doesn't happen only with change management projects. It happens with the whole culture of the company and also how we involve people. So, for example, in our company, the volunteering is very, very important thing. We do a similar conference like this one, even in this event, only with volunteers. So there is no external support. It's just, each time it's a different team. So actually, after several years of doing this event, we have huge number of people who know how to do events. I mean, you don't need to train them anymore because we have this in our company. We also ask them to organize themselves much better, even for CSR volunteering, for other project volunteering. And when then a change comes, it's easier to have this attitude from the colleagues that they also drive the change once they understand. And this is very important to give them the context why we are doing things. And once they understand, they will move with us. We don't need to push the change, but then it's really involve the people, they embrace it, and then we can move much faster. And the other topic which I wanted to touch just a little bit is that unfortunately there are so many, especially in bigger companies, there are so many multiple change at a time. So if you look at the point of view of one single employee, it's like they ask me to change the technology, they ask me to change the organization, they change my manager, they change, for example, the product, then the customer wants something to change. So it's all the time, this is in their view. And they need as well some reassurance that the company actually supports them, so that at least the company will be there for them, and all these changes they can adapt, they will have some time to adapt. And don't forget that you probably will be only one of these change, and you need to synchronize with the rest of the people who are also moving somewhere or transforming the company, especially in big organizations. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica. Jesus, the only thing you're going to have to change for me is my fear of flying, okay? So convince me about that, we'll talk afterwards. But over to you.
Oh, first of all, thank you. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here, because I wanted to be here mainly for two reasons. First is because all of you are passenger user of the terminal, so, and as our colleagues told several minutes before, first is to focus in the customer, and that all of you are user of our airport. And but secondly, most important is because we are recruiting the best talent of the country for this challenge project. It's because we want to transform completely the airport. And when I was explaining this when I arrived here 1 year and a half, and I was explaining to my team, because we take over the company from the state-owned, and telling to the people that we are going to be the best airport in Eastern Europe, a 5-star airport, and the best regional airport in Europe. The first reaction was, are you insane? Are you? This is Sofia. This is not going to be possible. And this is linked with because we need the best project leader to make it happen. And I'm not telling you this because I read it in a book. I'm telling you because I did it before. I mean, I've been managing airports during the last 17 years, and one of them became best airport in Europe and best regional global airport. So, and it was the first reaction when I was explaining to the people that I wanted to do that. I'm living the same, like a deja vu, it's like living the same experience. But, I wanted to share my experience and my lesson, and also to tell you about the project, to engage you also in the project. So, some lesson learned from what I did in the past to make it real. It's about three mainly topics. First is to have the proper strategy, the strategy and the vision, and need to be doable, need to be feasible, because you are telling to the people, we want to go to the moon, but you cannot go, so people will, okay, go, and so on. But you need to be sure that this is feasible, this is doable, and then when you are really understand that this is possible, you can start doing the second step, that is communicating. And to communicate, this is basic communicating. And when I've been failing in my last project, is your first line is only working with you, they are engaged, they understand perfectly the project, but then you need to reach the people in the ground. For example, in Sofia airport, last year we have 2,400 employees, and to reach all of them is very tough. This is for me the most tough things when you are trying to transform and to make changes in a project. And the third, well, not the third, but one of the most important topic is the team, because you need to recruit the proper team and in all the layers, not only in the first line. So that's the reason why when I arrived here in June 21, I spent 6 months only recruiting, and I didn't finish. So so we are still looking for project leader, because an airport is a very complex project. An airport, you have hundreds of projects combining in one. No? You have operation, technology, digital, safety, security. So because when you are passing through the terminal, there is a lot of things in the backstage to make it happen. So, and we are running the airport, but at the same time, we are going to transform from almost the worst in Europe to the best in class. So to make it happen to the best, we need to recruit, we need the best talent. And what I'm happy is that during this year, talking with people, recruiting project manager, there's a huge talent here. And some of them are here today in the room. I'm very happy that there is this knowledge in the country about project, because these kind of things cannot happen if you don't have this project management mindset. And if I have time, then I don't know if you want to. Well, then so what we are going to do in the airport? I mean, this is easy to say. We are going to become the best airport in Europe, but there is a plan behind, based in 4 pillars. The first is the passenger experience. The passenger experience is to transform completely the commercial, the operation, digital. Now we are transforming during this year and next year, because everything was doing manually until now in the airport. So for me, it's also a surprise. I've never seen an airport managing 7 million passengers manually. So this is good, because it's a very, very low foundation to quickly reach the level. So we are, so I know that all of you are very impatient to see the results. Some small changes, you can see small changes, especially in the services, because it's not only about investment in implementing technology, it's about changing how the way our staff is approaching you, how our staff is approaching the passenger. So because you need to do your job but smiling them. So changing this culture, this is the most difficult part in the transformation, because we have nice design for new Terminal 3 that we are going to build. We are going to transform completely the Terminal 2, but this is the easy part, to have nice design, very nice concept, but then to engage the people in the project is the more complicated. For me, it's like an example that when you are going to the cinema, you can have like this very nice room, super big screen, but then if the movie is boring, so at the end the experience is that you are leaving the cinema with the very nice building, but the movie is not good. So this is the concept you need to have. Very nice building, but the people engaged, that interacting with the passenger need to be fully engaged. And this change, coming from a state-owned company where the customer was the government, not the passenger, is not easy to change. Yeah? And then globally, what the company who is running the airport is Meridiam. Meridiam is an infrastructure fund. We have globally 170,000 people around the world. We have more than 120 projects. So it's a company who is working in a project way. So Sofia is one of these 120 projects. And we have more than $70 billion in terms of in project in assets, and so it's a global company. So investing in US, Africa, Europe, and Middle East. And Sofia is part of the Meridian Airports network. So we We already, last week, we were, for example, in LaGuardia, New York, Terminal B is part of our Meridiam airport, and we received the best airport in the world during the transformation, during the new terminal. So this is what we are bringing here. So, I mean, this is but again, it's about people, it's about project leader, and gathering all these project leaders is the way to achieve it. So thank you. And,
thank you. Last, but by no means least, okay, Zdravko.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, so first of all, thank you, Chris, and thanks to PMI and everyone behind the scenes for organizing this event, and thank you also for the opportunity and the honor to be here. And I also want to really appreciate all of you here spending your time today with us. So this is really meaningful for me and for everyone else here up front in the stage. So yeah, I'm representing Sensata Technologies, and we are doing business in various sectors, in automotive, in industrial, in also building infrastructure, aerospace. But for the sake of this discussion, I'm gonna pitch on the automotive business, and yeah, I just want to set the ground with a fact. Actually, we are living today the biggest technology revolution of automotive history have ever seen. And I'll give you an example. We are driving our cars, our internal combustion engine cars, already back and forward already for 130, 140 years, right? Today, we want an electrical vehicle to come and pick us up, maybe with our favorite book, maybe with a drink, maybe with our laptop to do some work, take us home, and maybe power up our house. How cool is that? And I'm pretty sure everybody else has also other ideas what that vehicle can do for us, and there are many ideas also on the ground. And there's some good news as well. Good news is that we're on it, and we're working for that future to come. And there's even better news, that a lot of that done from Sensata Technology will be done out of Bulgaria. So, thank you. We are the biggest automotive company in the country. We are having 2 smart factories in Plovdiv and in Boltevgrad today, producing for automotive industry and not only, also for medical. And we are having, on top of that, also a business center in Sofia where we have more than 500 bright people working. Out of them, we have top-notch project management talent driving that change, so I'm feeling very comfortable in that. We are having as well more than 250 people in R&D, and that's doing various work. We are designing the products, we are building samples, we are having the biggest automotive testing laboratory in the country and for the group. And we are also having departments that are building the machines that produce those components in the factories. And we are having all the support teams to do that in Bulgaria. We have in finance, HR, marketing, sales, customer service, give it a name, everything that it's needed for a project or a change to run. In our company, we have the great opportunity to build an idea from pretty much a white paper, really from scratch, to build physical samples for those parts that we can touch and feel, to test those samples in our laboratory to all the environment that needs to, that the product will face. Our people are also developing the processes and the technology for those parts to be produced. And our teams are also building the equipment, the machines that are set into our manufacturing sites to mass produce the sensors. So our project teams have a unique opportunity now to drive that change, to build that future to electrification, and to have really co-located teams in a country from A to Z. So this is a unique opportunity that we are given, and it's a lot of change. It's a lot of change, but I feel very comfortable because we have great teams supporting that. We have very, very engaged people. And maybe to the question of what is the key thing that we want to put in our notebooks, of how we want to drive that, I think what a lot of our colleagues give great examples here. Communication is super important. Don't be afraid to over-communicate, but I'll take you one step forward. My advice will be engage your people in building your vision, in building your strategy, in building your goals, in building your plans. Because people will do 150% when they're following and they're working on their ideas, and when they're managing and trying to implement their ideas as well. That will be my advice, a complete boost for the motivation of people driving change and driving people. Because that will be something they do, that will be their idea that they're going to follow. And another key factor I will really advise is really empower people. Make sure that they can take those decisions also to implement their decisions. Make sure that the teams have the authority to take decisions, because speed is important. With that change and with everything that we want our vehicle to do for us, the first one that are going to get it on the market will be the first one to win. And to be successful, it's really key that we also drive those changes faster so we can be the first one out there. So all that change is happening today in Sensata, and it's amazing. If you look at our portfolio, 1 year ago, it's grown with 50%. We're having totally different products. In the next couple of years, we need to turn around our factories to be ready to produce that, to be ready for that change coming and for everything we do. So it's really exciting times we're living in automotive. I'm really proud to be part of that. And yeah, that's basically how we want to end it here.
Thank you.
I'm giving 3 minutes back.
Well, what I'll say, okay.
We are in budget.
You know, I told everyone that if there was plenty of time left, that I'd come up with then surprise questions. So they made sure they spoke for as long as they can to give me little time. So before I have a few closing remarks, one, I want us to show our appreciation for. I've been lucky enough to share the stage with what I think is a great knowledge, experience that's been shared this afternoon. It's not like reading a book, Lee. It's actually about listening to people and learning from them and collaborating. So I want us to show our appreciation for the lessons that they've managed to share with us. The one thing I'll close with is I've gone into many organizations to look at setting up a delivery practice around project management, portfolio management. And I always tell people, I go back to the old adage, you've got to look at the people, process, and technology. And you know why we say it in that order? Because the most important piece is the people side. Sometimes when some of us are in technology, we try to look at a tool and we try to go, we're going to solve our problems by technology. You are going to solve your problems with people. Organizations don't change, people change. So I put together project management training years ago, and I found a quote, and I actually wrote it again this morning. It reminded me, okay, then I realized I may have to get my glasses out to read it, okay, but I wrote it down, okay, and it's to do with project management and change management to a certain extent, okay, and it says project management is nothing more than a construct of methods and practices that support it. It says the difference between doing it well and doing it poorly, therefore, must lie with the practitioners, the people that manage the practitioners, and the organization itself. Were it not true, every organization would be doing the same thing and getting the same results. So what that tells me is that every single one of you is actually the person that's going to drive the change. You're the people that are actually going to make the difference in what you do. So that's to do with project management and change management. So don't forget to add that people change management to the side of your project, and you will continue to show the value to all of your organizations. So thank you all for listening this afternoon. 30 seconds left. Not bad. Thank you.